Hey guys, so for the part 2 of this video, I will share with you some of the team recommendation for Dynamo with other units. But first, let me explain again on the other units kit and why does Dynamo actually hit so hard. So first of all, it is because of party-wide support. So pulsing field, the array itself provides 75% out might, 25% incantation might, and 15% damage dealt. On top of that, Ulrich structural analysis provide minus 30% damage taken reduction, and for every stack of key he has, it increases by 4% per stack, up to 10 stack, which means total he can reduce the damage taken reduction by 70%. And his frequency analysis provide additional 30% ultimate might, similarly 4% per stack of key up to 10 stacks, so another 70% ultimate might. Charon, Fear of Death, reduce crit defense by 20%, plus 5% per stack of Consternation, and up to 10 stacks, so total 70% crit defense reduction. And if Consternation is more than 4, additional damage taken plus 30%. And if you have Ezra, for every ghost mushroom that matures, you get a stack of buff which provides 40% crit damage. However, per attack, the stacks will reduce. So overall, these are insane damage boosts to the entire party. And on top of that, all of Dynamo units attack can take advantage of ultimate might and incantation might. So whatever buff they provide, it basically allows them to fully use it, making their damage really crazy. And lastly, for Lucy, Charon, and Ulrich, they all have buffs that boost their own damage. So that makes them hit really hard. Like Charon, he can go up to 100% penetration rate. Ulrich has additional ultimate ceremonious stacks, and Lucy has bonus afflators, increase her overall damage and stuff like that, which then makes all the damage that they dish out really high. So since their buffs are actually pretty generic and can be applicable to almost everyone, like incantation might, a lot can use that. Ultimate might, a lot can use that. So this makes them actually pretty versatile to be placed in different teams, especially if it's out related due to the massive out might that they provide, and also follow-up attack units, right? Because follow-up attack unit mainly uses incantation, but on top of that, most of the Dynamo units, they themselves do follow-up attack. So if you party them with the follow-up attack centric support like Flutterpage, or healer like Kiperina or Fatutu, then that team will actually work very well. So here I'm going to recommend to you DPS alternative to Lucy. You can use Centurion. Centurion right now, as well with her Euphoria, she double dips on ultimate might and incantation might, which also makes her damage output pretty crazy. Even without bonus afflators, she's doing 100 over 1000 of damage per incantation. Rank 1, rank 2, rank 3 all hit really hard. Another character here is follow-up attack. So I'm just putting Liang there, but generally you can use any other follow-up attackers. But this one, you want to have Flutterpage in there, right? So Flutterpage is providing support to, let's say, Ulrich and Charon, and then Ulrich and Charon is also providing support to Liang. So at the same time, everyone is supporting one another, so this team can actually work as well. So for alternative sub DPS and healer, again, it depends, you want to go for Fua or ultimate. So if you are going for follow-up attacks, then you go sub DPS. Obviously the best we have now is Flutterpage, and then healer you can go for Kiperina or either Fatutu. So with this team, it will function pretty well as well. I'm not saying that it's the best, okay, but they will be able to clear content. Then on the ultimate side, you have Melania. For the healer, you can also use Medicine Pocket. So generally, what you want to prioritize during team building. First of all, ask yourself, do you have enough characters, Dynamo units, that allows you to charge the pulsing field fast enough? So I already showed you in the part 1 of this video on how the character charges the pulsing field and how they gain Dynamo to do that. Yeah, so basically you know at least which unit you need, or minimum number of Dynamo unit you need to at least make the Dynamo team able, or basically the team able to charge the pulsing field all the way to level 3. Once you got that covered, then you look back into your team comp. Do you have at least one DPS or 2 sub DPS and 1 sustain? If you don't have, you can refer back to the recommendation that I provided for alternative DPS or alternative sub DPS or sustain that you can slot in. If you don't want to go for a main DPS, you want to go for multiple DPS, it's fine because Ulrich and Charon, they hit really hard as well. So when you put them two of them together, they are technically the DPS of the team. So you just bring another sub DPS to support both of them. In that case, it's either ultimate or Flutterpage. Ultimate is Melania, or Flutterpage for follow-up attack. And then you have 1 sustain, right? So this will give the team comp that will work very well against a lot of contents. And here to recommend some of the teams, here I have Ulrich, Charon, Flutterpage, and Kiperina. So this is actually a really strong team. This team is basically a combination of half Dynamo, half Impromptu. Surprisingly, they work very well. Reason is because Flutterpage provide buff damage boost to Ulrich and Charon, making them hit really hard. And on top of that, Charon and Ulrich does follow-up attack, which also help Kiperina to get more Eureka. While Flutterpage is there, together with Kiperina, they will provide a lot of inspiration. And with all the inspiration stacking up, you even can hit 20 stack of inspiration for Impromptu, allowing Impromptu to do very good damage. And this is very strong against main bulletin, because if you all know, Charon, he has that mechanic where if the boss HP goes below like 20% of the max HP, then it will deal Genesis damage every time you attack the enemy. So once you hit like 20%, and then Impromptu is going to like attack so many times, and if each time it's going to do like very low damage, but it was hitting it, it's going to keep trigger that 100,000 Genesis damage. Technically it's 9999959, so 100,000, and that will keep refreshing the boss, allowing you to do millions and millions of damage against it. So it's pretty crazy. Definitely one of the team comp that you should try out in mains bulletin. Then here another team is Ulrich, Ezra, Liang, and Flutterpage. So Liang here is the main DPS. Again, taking advantage of the array, but only the incantation mine and damage dealt. The ultimate mine is not really useful for Liang, but it's okay because the buff that Ulrich can provide is actually quite good. So overall, Liang will be able to take good advantage of it. And here Ezra is the sustain, and Flutterpage here provide damage boost to both Ulrich, making Ulrich a very strong sub DPS as well, and boost to Liang. With Ezra and Ulrich, you are looking at about 3, sometimes maybe 4, depending on how AP demanding Liang can be. So you may not have enough AP to actually set things up. So you may need 3 to 4 rounds to get the pulsing field to level 4. To level 3. Here also, Lucy, Ulrich, Ezra, and Melania. This is a trio team. You have 3 Dynamo Dynamo units. Usually you will charge the pulsing field in just 2 rounds. And here Melania, you are providing all the ultimate might, making Lucy and Ulrich hit really hard. But here there's one specific rotation, I didn't really spell out the rotation in this video for this team. However, here you want to use Ulrich incantation as much as possible as well, because with Melania around, you don't have to worry about wasting Moxie. All the Moxie will overflow. At the same time, when you are using a lot of Ulrich incantation while he is in the frequency analysis or the structural analysis status, he will generate a lot of ki. The more ki he generates, the more buff and debuff he provides, right? And then his ultimate also will hit really hard. It's pretty insane on how much damage he can do from just one ultimate alone. So here what you are actually planning is that you stack the Moxie up, get his ultimate. Once you are in pulsing field level 3, use the ultimate. Due to the overflow Moxie, I'm gonna assume that if you do it right, you are gonna get the ultimate again in the second round of pulsing field level 3. So which means each round of pulsing field level 3, you are able to cast Ulrich ultimate. And that is insane amount of damage. For this team is Lucy, Ulrich, Charon, and Kiperina. So I showcased this team recently, and you all know how strong this team can be. With all the follow-up attack that they do, Kiperina will be providing a lot of shield and a lot of buff to the team, allowing this team to perform pretty well. Apart from Kiperina, you also can use Flutterpage, you can use News Babble, or you can even use Medicine Pocket. They should work fine, because with these 3 characters, you should be able to charge the array without much of a problem. Now, for this next team, Ulrich, Charon, Ezra, Melania, or Flutterpage. Okay, here you are using both Charon and Ulrich as the main DPS. So definitely you want to use another sub DPS or a support unit to push their damage further. And the best 2 characters that can do that is either Melania or Flutterpage. And then you can have Ezra as your sustain. Or you can remove Kiperina, and that will return back to the earlier recommendation of having half Dynamo and half Impromptu. And here is another team, Ulrich, sorry, I forgot to edit the wording there. It's actually Centurion, Ulrich, Charon, and Ezra. So here, Charon will be the main DPS, okay? Centurion will be the main DPS. So Ulrich and Charon will take a step back to provide as much damage boost to Centurion. Centurion will be hitting like a truck. I guarantee it. And obviously for the full team, you have Lucy, Ulrich, Charon, and Ezra. One weakness of this team is that initially without Charon, you will level from pulsing level 1, level 2, and then level 3. Each time you level up, Ezra will grow the mushroom and will cast a shield. But now you are just going to go from level 1 to level 3, so it reduces the number of shield and mushrooms that Ezra can grow. So it's kind of make Ezra a little weaker. So if you are not careful, this team, although they do a lot of damage, they are kind of like a glass cannon, right? Sometimes the shield drop off, you don't have a shield. Even if you use Ezra's buff specifically, you are just going to get a small shield, and that may not be enough to tank a very big attack from the boss. And sometimes only when you see the boss is going to use ultimate, and that's the time you want to use the buff for the shield, but previous round the shield just drop off, there's nothing much you can do. Alright, so that's one problem I'm having issue with when I bring all 4 of this unit together. But again, depending on type of fight, and if your Lucy is very strong, right? If you're using P2, P5, R15, then of course the entire discussion will be different, because now you are doing so much damage, you may not need as much sustain as you should, right? In the run that I did, that I just showcased recently, the Lucy is P0 and R10 without any resonance pattern. So that is the most basic Lucy. So definitely she's not doing that much damage. So I do need as much sustain as possible, which is why I did not use Ezra, but I end up using Kiperina. Okay? Anyway, for this team, I want to share with you their rotation. So for this team, first of all, the position is important. if you are using Lopera Psycube on Ezra, you put Ezra at the front. So you bring Lucy behind. And Charon should always be behind Ulrich. Okay? And then, yeah, this will be the positioning. Round 1, you cast Ezra Shield. Okay? Then you cast Lucy L1, followed by Ulrich skill 1 and skill 2. Okay? So E here represent Ezra, L represent Lucy, and U represent Ulrich. So once you set this up, at the second round, Lucy's incantation, the second one, should also be enhanced. So now you can use both of it. Because if you use both of the incantation in round 1, one of it will not provide you any Dynamo. Because you only can enhance one of her incantation at the start of the round. So in round 2, now you use both of Charon's incantations to get to his ultimate in round 3. And then you use both of Lucy's. So now your pulsing field should be level 3. And now Charon should get the ultimate, Ulrich should get the ultimate. Because at level 3, Ulrich will get 3 Moxie. So you just use 2 incantation for 2 Moxie, while it's level 3, you get another 3. So it will generate Ulrich ultimate. Use both of it. They are free. You don't need any AP to use them because of Charon's kit. Right? His kit allows you to use his ultimate. After the pulsing field becomes level 3, you can use the ultimate for free. So after that, you use Lucy's both incantation and Ezra both incantation. Now round 4, you are still in pulsing field level 3. Use Lucy ultimate and both of Lucy incantation, maximize the damage. And then use Ezra incantation. Now the pulsing field reset back to 1. And you should use Lucy's attack, just one of it, and then Ezra incantation, prioritize shield. Always, if you have the extra AP to do so, always use his shield. Okay, you need as much shield as possible, especially if you're fighting against fights in Reverie. Then you use Ulrich skill, both of it. Round 6, Lucy both incantation, Ezra use the ultimate. Use Ezra ultimate at the end, so you provide all the stacks, buff stacks from Ezra to the other unit, and you don't consume it until you reach pulsing field level 3, because that is when you do the most damage. Then again at round 7, this time Ulrich out should generate again. Use it, it's free AP. Lucy's ultimate, L1, L2, Ezra E1, E2. Round 8, use Charon's ultimate. If you already get Charon's ultimate in round 7, just use it as well, since it doesn't consume AP anyway. So round 8, use his ultimate, Lucy's incantation, and then Ezra's incantation. Now, for some of the question and answer, I posted on the community post, and these are some of the things that you all wanted me to address. First of all, I would love to see which other DPS unit can be wheelchaired by Dynamo, aside from Centurion, even weaker or non-optimal ones like A9, Calabauna, Lilia. So I didn't do that. Their damage is really low at this point, but instead I used Liang Yue. Liang Yue was P0, the video that I did, so it works. So yeah. Alright, the second one, something like they are charging rotation. So I've covered that in the first video, explain all of the charging rotation, how much they charge, how many rounds they need, how many Dynamo they gain, okay? And based on different number of Dynamo units. And here what character are in Dynamo Team and who is necessary for it. Well, basically answered in this video, there is no necessary. First of all, I say prioritize the rotation. I mean prioritize the charging. If you are able to charge the field in 2 or 3 rounds, then look into your team comp. Do you have a DPS? If you don't, add 1. Do you have a sustain? If you don't, add 1. So generally 1 DPS, 2 sub DPS, 1 sustain, or like I say in this case, 3 sub DPS, 1 sustain, provided that the 2 sub DPS is Charon and Ulrich. Okay, 4th question. Kiperina in Dynamo. I see some CN players. And this because they are P3 plus Kakania with Fatutu makes them stomping on other routes. I'm not sure. Are you referring to like Kiperina, Fatutu, Kakania, and one Dynamo unit? I don't think that will work. So if you are referring to Kakania, Fatutu, and then you have Lucy and Kiperina, technically that is not the Dynamo team. Lucy alone can't charge fully the array, right? So that is basically Fatutu and Kakania team, not a Dynamo team, alright? Okay, for the fifth question, is Dynamo Ezra a need? Well, I addressed this in part 1 as well. In Reveries, if you want to charge the field in one round to max, level 1 to level 3 in just one round, you do need Ezra. Okay, other character will not be able to do that. However, depending, sometimes if you are doing it too fast, you don't even have time to set up Ulrich, it's then wasted damage potential. So if you need 2 rounds to set up, sometimes it can be more comfortable that way. So in that case, you don't technically need Ezra. But arguably, I also showcased and suggested like Centurion as main DPS. So in that case, could I say Lucy is also not necessary? Well, so overall, it's hard for me to answer this question where which character is actually necessary or not. I kind of do think that not all characters necessary, and yeah, it really depends on the fight, right? On the fight that you are fighting against. But so far, if you have at least 3 Dynamo units, you should be fine. Okay, I do think so, right? So one of the Dynamo unit that you want to give up and who it should be, that's entirely up to you. Does Charon fit impromptu team very well? If he's alone again, I don't think so. But Charon, Ulrich, Kiperina, Flutterpage, they do work very well. Not with the other impromptu. If you're going to replace Flutterpage with Barcarola, I don't think that's a very good idea. Barcarola is not providing much to Charon or Ulrich, so you will have a big drop in damage output there. If you replace Flutterpage with a left, I think maybe that one would be okay. Just okay because of the +1 AP and extra incantation might, but the ultimate probably is not that useful. It will end up being more useful for impromptu, but in that case you might as well don't bring Charon or Ulrich, right? And what are the impromptu? Voyager, Regulus? Nah, I don't really think so. Okay, so strictly I would think that if impromptu, then it's Flutterpage, Kiperina, Ulrich, and Charon. Okay, next, please give some explanation about how to get full Dynamo array. So this one is in part 1. A very full explanation, it's like an hour long. Okay, next, can you give us tips to manage Ezra shield? Okay, check out the rotation that I provide, and I mentioned that do prioritize Ezra shield. So another word is use it every time you have the opportunity to. Okay, I do agree with Charon, you are not getting as much shield passively, so you need to cast it actively. Okay, that's the only tip I have. And I can also tell you that I really don't like it. I felt that the shield really just disappeared and you want to get it back up like very thick. Can't really do that, especially during the time when you actually need it most. Okay, sometimes it will be very thick, sometimes it will not be. It's quite hard to manage it. Okay, last question. However, I haven't fully explored the rotation if you're just talking about the shield. So maybe in the next 2 patch when the Dynamo team actually comes into global, and then I will use my own Ezra to check out more stuff, then maybe I have better tips. Okay, lastly, there are other options for healer in a Dynamo team. So yes, I've suggested it. You can go for Mad Pocket, Fatutu, Kiperina as well. I do really would recommend Kiperina. Alright, so yep, that's all I have to say for the Dynamo team at this point. I will stop doing Dynamo video because The next day it will already be Assassin's Creed patch, and I'm going to focus more on Assassin's Creed patch. So this is the last video for now regarding Dynamo. I will resume more when we actually have Dynamo in the global version. Alright, so thank you very much for watching this video and have a good day.